Today, you're going to flip over today's program. You have your Super Bowl and you have your World Series, but for the true essence of global competition, what comes to mind? What arena most captures the hearts of all 7.8 billion residents of our planet? Well, our featured speaker today is an American artistic gymnast, a 7-time member of the U.S. national team, world champion, and an alternative for the 2016 Rio Olympics. She later competed for the University of Utah, winning 2 NCAA titles, and deferred her senior year to zero in on Tokyo, and you'll soon find out the rest of the story. After 2 years of dating, she married Jonas Harmer back in November 2019, and they plan to move back to Utah after the Olympics. We'll be using an interview format today, so get your edgy questions loaded and ready. She says that any question is fair game. So let's bend over backward and give a solid gold medal welcome for MyKayla Brooke Skinner. And so I'm going to start with just a couple questions and everyone else can join in. So first, let you know, by sheer coincidence, I discovered that one of the super sharp entrepreneurs on a team I had the pleasure of working with at UC Berkeley just happened to have competed in the London Olympics as a gymnast and is with us today. So let's say hello to Sophia Serseri, and happy anniversary, Mick, and happy semi-early birthday. So here are our questions to get us rolling. All right. We loved your videos. I love really the most Googled questions about you, and I've had them up on our website for several weeks now. Tell us, what's a day in the life look like to you as an Olympic gymnast?
You know, it's just a crazy lifestyle. I think even, being married, Jonas took him a while to kind of get used to it, especially because we met in college. And so the Olympic route is just very, very different. When I used to do gymnastics for the last Olympics, I trained 7 hours a day. And going to college, you only train about 20 hours a week. So you're not really training that much. And I'm older for a gymnast. So it kind of makes gymnastics a little more difficult in some ways. But now I only train from like 4 to 5 hours. And then I go to therapy twice a week, a trainer twice a week, and just the crazy schedule that I'm on daily. But yeah, gymnastics is just crazy. It takes up my whole entire life. It's definitely a commitment that I have to be full in, and just to get the job done if you want to be on that Olympic team. So it's just definitely really, really crazy, and I'm just ready for this Olympic journey to be over so I can have a life. But yes, it's crazy.
Marriage, college, I mean, you got loads of free time. Yeah. Have you ever struggled with motivation?
That's actually a really good question, because that is definitely going on right now, just because of the whole pandemic. And I was really just hoping that I only had to come back for 1 year for this Olympics. And now it's gone on for 2 years, which is horrible, because I was really wanting to go back and finish my last year at the University of Utah to compete on the gymnastics team. And that's kind of made my life, so crazy, and having to decide, do I want to go back and finish at Utah, or do I just do the Olympic route and be done now that it's going on 2 years? Just because I am getting older for gymnastics, which is crazy to say, because you usually peak from 16 to like 18. And so, me and Simone are the oldest on the Olympic team right now. So that's kind of crazy to think about. We're only 23. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's a crazy ride, that's for sure.
Then I only have 2 more questions. Can you eat all you want?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I try to eat whatever I want, although I probably shouldn't, because my favorite food's like chicken nuggets and french fries. So that's definitely something.
Breakfast of champions. Right?
Breakfast of champions for sure. Jonas posts that a lot, especially on his Instagram all the time. But, for YouTube, we have a YouTube channel, and everybody's always asking us, like, what's your daily eating routine? And I'm like, I don't know if I should post that, because it's definitely not healthy, that's for sure. Not good.
Inspirational.
But yeah, usually during meets, I try to eat healthier going into them, but I kind of just eat kind of whatever I want. There's a lot of other gymnasts that need to be like on a stricter diet, but I'm really lucky that I've stayed healthy and I'm in good shape. So I kind of like to splurge a little bit every now and then. So you could even ask Elaine. I like Cocoa Puffs or Cocoa Krispies for breakfast. I'm like, I could eat cereal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's like a gymnast thing. We just love cereal. So,
Oh, okay. And then my final question is, gymnastics is a rare sport in that being compact seems to have advantages. When you were younger, did you hope to stop growing? That's kind of an out there one, I know, but hey.
I mean, I don't know. I never really grew much. I kind of stayed the same. So I think I've been the same height since I was like a freshman in high school, which has been really sad, especially being married to someone that's 6'6". I'm only
Yeah.
8 feet tall.
Yeah.
So,
I know
yeah.
how you feel. I peaked in the 8th grade and haven't grown. So I still wear the same stuff. So yeah.
I feel you on that one. But yeah, I don't know. I wish now that I could actually grow a couple inches, but I don't think that's in my near future. So
Okay. All righty. Everybody else.
Hey, buddy, do you want me to facilitate or do you want to do it?
I'll let you do it. You got the big picture.
Okay, Rich.
Good morning, and I'm speaking as someone who's 6'3". I'm glad you have somebody of a nice moderate size that you're married to. So Jonas, yay. My question is that you're talking about how at age 23 you're kind of one of the elder stateswomen in the sport. Which is kind of odd. I know I like bicycling and the bike racing at age 23 in the Euro Pros. You're just getting started. But my question is, in your position now, you've been doing this now for however many years. You are one of the more experienced gymnasts out there. What advantages are there that you see and feel to being a 23-year-old gymnast as opposed to being a 16 or 17-year-old gymnast?
oh, definitely so much more. And, even being an alternate for the last Olympics and having like Allie Raisman as a role model and just, seeing her go through those 2 Olympics before. And you definitely just learn a lot. But I think what really helped me grow up and mature was especially going to college and having that experience and just, being an alternate for the last Olympics, being a 3-time world team member and now training for this Olympics. It's actually really cool because I've always kind of been, under some of the girls. I was younger at the time. And so now it's weird, coming back into the league scene and like me and Simone are the role models. So that was definitely something that was really cool for me to be able to go to camp and just even this last Worlds that we had in October, just having all those girls look up to me, even though I haven't done elite for 3 years, it was just really awesome, to have them come to me for questions and answers. And so that was really exciting for me. But yeah, I definitely have so much experience, way better than I did when I was 16. I feel like being older, it just helps a lot more. And I feel like I'm a lot smarter, I'm more mature, and I kind of just, know how to get the job done. And, I feel like when you're 16, you're a girl, so you have a lot of hormones going on. And so it just makes gymnastics a lot harder, especially in the US. When we had Marta, she would kick our butt like so hard. We were like robots. And it definitely helps going from that and then transitioning into having Tom Forster, which is the new Olympic coach. He's been a lot different. Everything's a lot better. And so it's definitely nice being older and more mature and being able to handle those situations and not have to push as hard in some ways. But yeah, definitely having the experience I've had has been amazing. And I'm so grateful that I can share it with all the athletes on the USA national team.
Was that Marta Caroli that you were talking about?
Yes, she's crazy.
Sophia, you have a question?
Yes, I had a question for you. I wanted to know what's your best memory about your career so far, and congratulations again for everything.
Oh, thank you. Man, I'd have to say my best memory was probably my first Worlds 2014 in Nanning, China. That was definitely my career highlight, I think, just because I made floor and vault finals. I got the bronze medal on vault, and that was just something really big for me that I've never done in my elite career. So that was definitely a memory that will last a lifetime. I'll never forget it. It was just unreal. So cool.
Conrad?
Good morning, MyKayla. Thank you for being with us. You mentioned and briefly that part of your daily routine was, I believe you used the term therapist. I'm wondering what kind of psychological involvement is going on to deal with the fact that you were all ready to go to the Olympics in March, and all of a sudden the whole thing was shut down. And how are they training people to deal with this fact that their life has not ended and that they just need to put things on hold?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really difficult at first. I mean, we with USA Gymnastics, we have so many resources to help us, to reach out to us, and to help us get through it. I even talked to a mental trainer once a week that actually went to the University of Utah, graduated from there, which is really cool. But he helps me a lot with just getting through this process. At first, like, obviously I was really mad with how everything went. I was just like, why would this happen? Like, of course this would happen. It's like the gymnast gods are like saying, you can't be done with gymnastics yet. Like, they just want me to keep going somehow. But it's just been, I don't know, it's been really hard. I didn't want to do the extra year. I actually kind of had an injury come up. I've been actually really, really, really grateful that I have been able to go this long with like no injuries. I've done gymnastics for 18 years. And recently I had like a huge bone spur in the back of my heel that's been bugging me through like my junior year of college and kind of my return to elite, but I've been able to like kind of push through it. It hasn't been horrible. And then after the whole pandemic and everything got pushed back a year, probably like a couple months ago, it got really, really bad. So that's why I've been going to therapy like crazy to try to rehab it. So that's kind of been hard on me because I'm like, we ended up not doing surgery. And so I hope that I can push through the next couple of months. That's kind of been hard. And then obviously I love kids. And so I have 12 nieces and nephews. And so it's been hard to like not be able to like start my life. Now that's being pushed back even more. So it's all just been crazy. But I think definitely having that mental trainer has helped me stay positive through it all. Otherwise, I feel like, you know, I would just crash and burn here and there. But I mean, I've been through so many challenges in my life, and gymnastics, I think I have the craziest story to tell through my gymnastics stories just because I've been through it all. So I think I'm really mentally tough to be able to keep pushing. And my mom always says, I don't know how you do it, but I find a way and I dig down deep, and I want to make the Olympic team. So I guess this is just what you have to do to get there.
Chris?
Oh, yeah, you know, in fact, I'm looking at the wedding picture behind you guys, and it looks, with the height differential, it looks like you're ready to do a backflip. But my question is, given that you guys are both athletes, what's the greatest advantage to being married to another athlete? And what's the greatest downside?
Well, I'm going to start with the downside is that we're both super competitive. So we can't ever play or do anything together because he always wants to beat me and I can't deal with him beating me. So like if we're playing cards, I always want to be a quitter and just quit because I can't take that he always beats me, because that's kind of hard. But I don't know. What do you think the greatest thing is? Say something, say something.
Well, as far as downsides, yeah, that was the first thing that came to mind. It's kind of hard to play stuff, like play sports. Like we were playing ping pong with family over Thanksgiving, and we're on the same team. And so it was nice because we're both athletics, we're both good. But if one of us messed up, we'd want to kill the other person. It's nice for me though to kind of have MyKayla as my role model. Like I go to her personal trainer with her twice a week because I usually consider myself in pretty good shape. I've been doing sports my whole life, but the first time I went with her to her trainer, it almost killed me. And she does that twice a week before 4 hours of gym. So it's been nice, you know, now like I can kind of keep up. It's been nice doing that. Like I'll go to gym with her sometimes, and obviously I film for our YouTube channel, so I'm in there a lot with the camera, but sometimes it's fun to swing around. She'll teach me a little bit of gymnastics.
Yeah, if you guys want a good laugh, we have a YouTube video of me teaching Jonas gymnastics, so it's pretty good. You have to take a look at it.
Thank you.
Skip?
MyKayla, I'm sure you have had a lot of challenges and compromises that you've had to deal with regarding education over the years, because people that get involved in gymnastics at such an early age, that's going to have an impact on going to school and getting educated. And obviously you're able to do it. You're at the University of Utah, but can you talk a little bit about the challenges that an athlete like yourself, especially in gymnastics, has in that regard?
Yeah, I think especially like in high school when I only had, when I trained 7 hours a day, it kind of took up my whole entire day. So for school, I had 0 hour in high school. So I had to go to 0 hour, which started at like 6 a.m. And then I was only there till noon. And then to catch up on all my courses, I had to do summer school, which was horrible because who wants to do school in the summer? So I pretty much got like no sleep because my gym schedule went from 1 to 8 o'clock, and then I wouldn't get home till like 8:30. And then by the time I like ate dinner, showered, and did my homework, I was literally hardly sleeping. So that was really, really hard. I don't know how I pushed through it. Sometimes I feel like I need to retake high school because I missed so much from traveling to camps. We had national team camps like every 3 weeks. So we had to go to those, plus international assignments. And then when you're gone for Worlds, you're gone for a whole month. So it really just like takes up that whole time of me being able to like do schoolwork and testing. I remember I'd have to like go to school and take a test and it wouldn't be very good. And my teachers were actually like super nice that they would let me have an extra week to study and then come back and retake the test, which was really nice. So that was really hard. Going to college, it was like a little bit easier. It wasn't too challenging just because gymnastics for college was like a piece of cake for me. It was like dumbing down my routines to like nothing. I was just like, I could like do this every single day because it was so easy. So getting school done, I actually had a lot more time to study and actually like think about school, which was really awesome. I think, I can't remember what my grade point average was, but I had like, what was it?
It was good.
It was like a 4.9. I don't know. I had like a really good grade point average just because I was able to like actually really focus on homework, which was really good for me because I'm not that smart at school. So I definitely got to like work really hard and challenge myself to be really good at school. But yeah, other than that, coming with this comeback and trying to do elite gymnastics has even been hard because I still have only 24 more credits left at the University of Utah. And I'm like, I don't want to finish because I don't want to go back to school because I'm like over it now, but I know I need to go back. So that's going to be challenging for me, I think, is just getting that last year done and then deciding if I want to do gym or not. But yeah, it was hard. I don't know how I did it. I feel like I'm sleeping all the time. I love to sleep. I can nap anywhere, lights on, lights off, music playing, movies on. I think it's just because I never got all that sleep in high school that it's like all I want to do is sleep to catch back up. But yeah, crazy.
Yeah, you know, my son played soccer at UC Davis, and I remember him getting in the car with 5 soccer players at Northridge driving back home. And I said, when are you going to study for your next exam, which is tomorrow? He said, in the car, no problem.
Yep.
I said, right.
Yeah. Crazy. The things to do.
Fred?
Yeah, actually, my question is for Jonah. What's it like being an Olympic spouse? Do you get to travel everywhere as well? And what's it like?
There haven't been a whole lot of opportunities to travel just because pretty soon after we got married, everything shut down for the pandemic. So I don't know yet about that. I mean, I'm planning on traveling once the meets start going back up, but I mean, I have to kind of ask a little more specifically because I don't really know anything else besides being married to an Olympic gym.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Overall, it's good. It's my job's pretty flexible, which is nice, so it works out well. I can be here with her, and I need to travel quite a bit in the summer, but I still go and see her practice. You know, every time she has a meet, even if I can't be there in person, you know, I can watch. So it works out.
Cool. One comment, there are some of you who don't know how to raise your electronic hand. So if you're texting me, that's fine. And if you're sending me private chats, that's fine. So I'm maintaining a separate list as to the order of these questions. Okay, so Buddy, you are next.
Yeah. I just want to ask, First, Jonas, I can relate. My wife is about to turn 59, and yesterday she just took off and pedaled like 4 miles on her bike and back before she worked from the house, and then took off and ran a couple miles at noon, and then she swam close to 2 miles in the later afternoon at 59 or almost 59. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy it. So that's good. But Sophia, could I ask you this, please? Is there anything you would like to say would have liked to have said to your younger self just before you're heading into the Olympics in London, which could also be in the form of advice for Mickey?
Yeah, sure. I would say like when I was going in there, I was really prepared to be like, okay, this is gonna be amazing. This is the event, and I was more of a spectator than an actor. So I was like, you have to be really focused on what you're doing, and even if it's super incredible and super impressive, you got to stay focused on what you're doing. I mean, I'm sure like she has plenty of experience, so she knows that. But it was just like as a 16-year-old, I was just kind of like, this is it. I'm excited, and it was hard to be an actor, and I was more feeling like a spectator around it. That was a piece of advice, yeah, I would give to anyone younger, but you have experience. So.
It still helps though, just because, you know, even though you've had that experience, it's definitely a different atmosphere. Like it's the Olympics, you know, it's like the biggest event you could ever be in. So no, that's awesome. That's great.
Pat Flaherty. Pat. You're
Hi.
muted, Pat.
I'm up. Hi, MyKayla. Hi, Jonah. I marvel at your commitment, and I think we all recognize as an adult, as adults, we have our goals and we orient to those, and we have our commitments. But I'm in awe of a young person when you started that you could do this and you committed to it. And I'm just wondering, can you recognize anything as a young person that allowed you, that caused you, that drove you to be so committed? What is it about makeup of people committed at such a young age that can succeed like you are now?
It was actually really hard because when I was little, I hated gymnastics. I just hated it. I wanted to quit all the time. And I started out at a family friend's gym, and the highest level they went to was level 8. But before that, I did gym there. My dad got transferred to Utah, so I did gym in Utah for 2 years, and my coach was like super intense. I did the TOPS program, which is where you kind of start in elite, and it was miserable. So I begged my mom all the time to quit because I just wanted to like play and have a life. So I actually quit gymnastics for a year, and then my dad got transferred back to Arizona, and then my mom was watching Carly Patterson in the Olympics and was like, just had this like strong feeling like we need to put MyKayla back in gymnastics, because I had a lot of talent, but I obviously wasn't at a good gym to where like they were teaching me and I wasn't that good. So anyway, my mom put me back in the family friend's gym, and I got to level 8. I competed level 8 for 2 years, and my coach just kept saying, you need to take her to a different gym. Like, she's too talented. We can't take her any higher. So my parents put me in Desert Lights Gymnastics, and, you know, kind of from there, the rest was history. I went in at like 12 years old, and I competed, won meet 9, went level 10, made JO Nationals in that same year, and made Junior International Elite all in 1 year, which I don't think any gymnast has ever done before. And so that was just kind of, during all that time, that was kind of just when, you know, I knew I was like, I think I have a chance at going to the Olympics, you know, and I, you know, never had thought in my life like I would be going down this road. And so after that, my life just kind of took off. I was, you know, training 7 hours a day, and I just really had to, you know, think about, is this what I want to do? Because, you know, you have to, it's, you know, so dedicating. I have to put all this into one sport, which is crazy because I hated gymnastics, and I still kind of hated it. I was like, I don't know if I like this. I remember getting invited to my first national team training camp, and for some reason, like, they kind of have like developmental training camps, and then they have national team training camps. And so I obviously wasn't on the national team yet, and we had sent videos into Marta to try to start going to camps. And for some reason, she invited me to a national team training camp, and that was when like they only had national teams. So it was like 12 seniors, 15 juniors. And I was with Sean and Nastia, and I had never been to a camp, and I didn't know it was so hard. And so my teammate Stephanie had been to developmental camps. So we both went to the national team camp. And the first night I literally cried. I thought, you know, before going, I'm like, I'm going to go to like an Olympic camp and I get to be with Olympians. And I just thought it was the coolest thing ever until I got there and realized how hard it was to do this. And I literally cried on the phone. I was FaceTiming my parents and I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is way too hard. It's brutal. Like, I don't think my body can take it. And then I came home from camp and I prayed a lot about it. And I was like, you know what? Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And if you want to go to Olympics, this is what it takes, especially in the United States, because we're just unstoppable. I mean, I see why USA Gymnastics was so good, but obviously it was brutal and didn't need to be that way necessarily. But I just pushed myself through I knew what it took to get there. So somehow I dug down deep and just kept working my way. And, you know, here I am today. I mean, I was an alternate last Olympics, which kind of sucked because I placed 4th at Olympic trials. So I should have been on the team, but with gymnastics, there comes a lot of politics, which kind of sucks. But now that, you know, everything has kind of moved out from like Marta being there and everybody else, they've pushed them out and put new people in. So I think it will be a lot more fair. So I'm hoping that everything will be better this time around.
David Wall.
Hi, this question actually kind of dovetails onto what you were just talking about, your training. And I'm familiar with bicycle training and the regime that a bicyclist has to go through for training. You know, the hard days, the not so hard days, the weight training, you know, how you have to mix them all in. Can you get into more detail when you say, I train for seven hours a day, but what a week looks like, you know, hard intensity, low intensity, stretching, you know, all the different parts of training, so that we have a better idea of exactly, and what you just talked about, how it was so hard, so we have a better idea of what training really means.
Yeah. So right now we're kind of,
and why you kicked Jonah's butt.
Obviously, like during the off season, you know, we're not really like full out busting out routines, which obviously that makes a workout a little bit more intense. But I go to gym Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I convinced my coach to let me have Wednesdays off, and I always get Sunday off, just because in college we got 2 days off, so my body was not able to like come back and go a full week. That was rough. So Mondays, each week kind of is different just depending on the schedule, but Mondays I usually go to therapy. So I'll wake up and go to therapy, and right now I've been going to therapy for like 2 hours, and it's hard stuff. It's not easy, and especially wearing a mask, like I feel like I'm gonna pass out. It's horrible. It's so hard. But so yeah, it's definitely kicking my butt. But anyway, then I go to practice, and I'm there for 4 to 5 hours. And so I usually do every event every day, except some days I'll kind of maybe not do floor and vault, just because that's a lot on the body to do every single day. So some days those will switch, where I'll do vault more than floor, and then the other way around. But yeah, so right now I'm pretty much doing every event. I train kind of half sets. Since I've been injured, I've just now been coming back. So I haven't really done too much in the gym. I'm just slowly getting my stuff back. So that's kind of how it looks for like Monday, and then Tuesday I do therapy, or I do the trainer for an hour, and then I go right to the gym. And then I kind of do like my same routine, just, you know, parts on bar, some stuff on beam. And then I get Wednesday off. So on my Wednesdays off, I try to have as much fun as possible and try to get a lot done, because that's like the only day I really am productive. And then Thursday, I go back to the trainer, then practice again. Friday, I go therapy, and it's been horrible because I love to sleep. And so like my waking up time is like 9 o'clock. And so therapy sometimes is at like 7 in the morning, or, you know, 8:30. And then it's hard because it's like clear across town, and then I can't just sit there all day. So then I usually drive all the way back and then take a nap for like 2 or 3 hours before I have to go back to gym. And then
Talk about what you do in therapy though.
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so at therapy, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of shock wave therapy, but it's kind of like this gun thing, and it has a lot of like shock waves. It's kind of new in the US, and it's like really, really painful. It is not fun, and they have to like do it for like what is it, like 5 minutes, would you think, 3 minutes? And Jonas would always make fun of me because I would sit there and I'm grabbing the table and I'm like, it's so painful. So anyway, my therapist, Jed, was like, okay, like, let's try it. So they put it on his arm for like 5 seconds and he was like, oh my gosh, that's so painful. So he actually kind of knows what I have to go through. But other than that, I'm just doing a lot of endurance, jumping legs, just to try to get my legs stronger. They put this like weird, like, belt thing around my leg, so it cuts off half of my circulation, so my leg like doesn't work as well. So we've been trying to do that to like make my leg work harder, so that way when my like blood flow starts coming through it, I don't know, I don't know how it really works, but just kind of like a method like that. I don't know, it's been helping. It's really interesting. I don't know, is there anything else cool I do at therapy?
The zero gravity treadmill.
Oh yeah, they like put me in this treadmill and it blows up with air. So I'm wearing like a tutu skirt and they zip me up and it fills up with air, so I can do like 60% weight, or just however I want to, and then I kind of just like run in it. So like I kind of feels like I'm like running on a cloud, which is kind of cool. So yeah, I've been doing a bunch of different stuff like that. The trainer's kind of the same. I just been doing workouts that help strengthen different areas that you don't really use in gymnastics that are weaker. Especially with like gymnastics conditioning, it's a lot different than like training conditioning, so it's really good to have both of those to keep my body even. And yeah, I don't know, nothing else that's too exciting. I mean, if you guys really want to like watch and kind of see what I do in the gym, my YouTube channel definitely has all that. So it's really fun to watch, especially for those that aren't good with gymnastics, just because my YouTube channel has been kind of the road to Tokyo. So we're kind of just doing like my daily life of MyKayla Skinner. So that might explain it a little bit better than me just talking about it, so you can actually see what I'm doing. So, yeah.
Ernie?
What is the process for selecting the team for next year's Olympics?
Mm-hmm. So for the US, I don't know how you guys do it in France, but it's a little bit, I don't know how you guys do it, but for us in the US, you should actually talk about yours too, because I'm curious to see how you guys do it. But we have an Olympic trials. We do it like a month before the Olympics even happen, which is crazy. People are like, you guys only know a month before. So yeah, it's weird. But I feel like, before they used to do the Olympic trials, like, we'd have like, every time we made the national team every year, we would have like a national team meeting the day after we competed. And they would kind of talk about like the year going into the Olympics. They would kind of talk about, so we kind of know who we're looking at for the Olympics. So they'd kind of be looking throughout the year, which is good because sometimes you need, different athletes for different areas. But technically in the rule book, you're supposed to take the top placings. And so, kind of going into Olympic trials, it was really hard because, even for the commercials, they had the 5 that were chosen for the team. They had them and their parent sitting on TV talking, and like they already knew who the Olympic team was. Like they already knew who was going. And so obviously they could switch if they needed to for certain things, but it was just kind of like Olympic trials was almost just like, to make money. And it wasn't really about the athletes. Like they didn't really care. They already knew who they were taking. But anyway, at Olympic trials, you have a 2-day competition. And then out of the 2 days they put your combined scores together. And then after the second day of competition, you go back into this room and the selection committee goes into a room. So all of us girls that were competing, there's usually about like 12 of us. They only use the senior national team makes it. So we go to championships like 2 weeks before Olympic trials, and whoever makes the national team goes to Olympic trials. So there's usually like 12, maybe 15 of us. So anyway, after the second day of competition, we go into that room. We're all sitting there. The selection committee walks out, goes into a different room, and then they're sitting there talking about the team. And then they come back in and they announce it like one by one. So all of us know before the whole crowd even knows who the team is. And so I just remember sitting back in the room, like I was texting my sister because my whole family was there watching. And I was like, I know I placed 4th, but like, you even think they're going to use me and blah, 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 and My sister's like, I don't know, we'll see. But they were getting texts from everybody saying like, they already know who the team is. Like they've been posting it in the commercials. And so like, they kind of knew I probably wasn't going to make it, but they didn't want to tell me that, you know? And so, yeah, it was like, you would think like being an alternate would be exciting just because like, you know, like that's so cool. Like you still get to go to the Olympics, but like being on the US team, like it really isn't that exciting because like the second you get to Rio, they like push the 3 alternates away. You don't get to see the Olympic team for the rest of the time. We had to train in the Brazilians training facility, and it was like the equipment was horrible. The beams had like no padding on it. Everything was just, it was like I cried every single day because I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, why am I here if like they don't care about me? And so it was just like a really, really difficult time. So that's why like coming back to train for this Olympics, I was like, do I even want to do that? But then like once everything started happening with the Larry Nassar scandal and all that stuff, and they got rid of everybody, I was like, okay, like maybe I can do this if it's better. But yeah, so that's kind of how they named the team. I was named first alternate. Um, it was just devastating after they named the 5, and then I got put first alternate. But then they walked us out into the arena onto the floor, and I wasn't crying like tears of joy. I was crying because I feel like I failed just because I'd worked so hard. I put everything into the Olympics. Like right the year of the Olympics, that's when I started going to the trainer. I took dance lessons just because I'm not a flexible gymnast. I'm really tight, so I wanted to be the best that I could be. And you know, I went all in, and it still wasn't good enough. So it was definitely it was hard, but I think that's what was supposed to happen. I think it was a learning lesson for me, and like I said, I've had so many experiences that have made me the person I am today, and I think I needed that to be strong, to be able to push through anything. So,
Sophia, did you want to share your experience?
Yes, for sure. So in France, it's a little bit similar, but with like some differences as well. So it's mostly based on the national before the Olympics, which is also a month before. But then they kind of like see during the whole year who competed, who did not, like on like national competition, also international. So I would say the more competition you did, the better chance you have, because then they kind of like reduce to like 12, 10 people as well. And then for the like last national, they take it out of 2 days. One for like the main kind of like competition where you compete in every event, and then for the girls who do not compete in every event, they would kind of just see like the result per event, and then they kind of mix it up and tell you the day of the nationals at the end. This is the team, and then they kind of announce it in front of everyone. So I was third, and because one of the girls was only competing in bars, they would like finally made the team, and I was like fourth on the team. So they were just like, yeah, this is it. And yeah, and then you have a month to prepare, and that was kind of like very stressful. You don't want to get injured. And I unfortunately broke my ligament, I mean, tore my ligament. So that was really bad. But then they were just like, well, you have 2 options. You either say it and then you just, you know, get like some kind of medical assistance and just don't go, or you just don't say anything and just keep repeating. And I mean, when like, that's exactly what you said. When you're really motivated, there's nothing to stop you, and I'm just gonna go all in and see how it goes. And that's what I did as well. So it was tough at the end, but I was happy to make it, and you know, it was worth a whole month of suffering to finally make it there.
yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you pushed through it.
Yeah, me too.
Jamie?
Hi, MyKayla. Thanks for speaking to us. I can hear a lot, and I assume that anybody who's honest that's in your position has this love-hate relationship with something that's demanded so much of their lives. I'm just wondering how you handle that on a daily basis. I assume you have to really focus inward on your own goals and on your own passion for the sport or for competition or whatever it is for you. So that's one question. And then the second one is, you know, what's your post competitive life look like? Is it going to involve gymnastics? Are you thinking about having a gym yourself, being a coach? What are you thinking about? Or are you going to be moving on to something else entirely?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, now I need to think of the first question. Oh yeah, okay. So it's hard because like gymnastics, like I feel like with any other sport, you kind of like, I don't know, I feel like you just, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with their sport, but I've always wondered, like, if I did, like, dance or cheer or soccer or volleyball, like, it's like, you know, you get to have, like, a team and you get to have fun, and all this kind of stuff. Like, I think you kind of just go to practice and you're like, oh, I just get to go like hit some balls today. But like with gymnastics, like you can't be lazy. You can't be tired, because then you're going to hurt yourself. You have to be like full going every single day. And it's just really, really hard. I mean, the stuff we're doing in elite gymnastics is crazy and out of this world. Like, I feel like what I do is so hard, but yet there's still so much more, especially like being with Simone. It's like, she just keeps doing and doing and doing. And I'm like, okay, like I actually thought I was going somewhere, and now I got to push it 10 times harder to like be at her level. And so it's just like gymnastics, honestly, it's just going to keep getting harder. I don't think it's ever going to like stay the same or get easier. And so, yeah, I don't know. But I feel like with gymnastics, even though it's hard and it's brutal, I think that I kind of like that challenge, and I like being able to like prove myself. I love doing big skills. I love going out there and showing everybody like no one's ever done this before. I'm gonna go try and do this, or I'm gonna do this skill. Like, watch me. Like, I don't know. So I've been really known for like throwing big skills, and so that's just something that I love doing, and that's what I really, really missed being in college. Like, I still threw some of the biggest skills that a lot of college gymnasts don't, but I couldn't really do the easier skills because I didn't know how. So coming back into elite, that was something that was just so fun, was being able to like challenge myself again. And I'm even doing harder stuff than I did the last Olympics, which is crazy. I don't know how I'm doing it, but I am. So I think, kind of, yeah, I might hate going to the gym and, my coaches kicking my butt and making me work really hard and maybe doing things that I don't want to do. I feel like as a child, I was really gutsy and I wasn't really scared to do stuff, but being a little bit older and coming back into the scene, it's scary. Like, I've, whacked my chin on the bar a couple times, which like I never did before. So coming back, I've kind of like done some scary things. So that's kind of freaks me out. So I kind of hate that part of it. But I think the love for the sport definitely helps, like going out and competing, and like when you actually go and hit and nail those routines, that's like when you're like, okay, like this was worth it, this is so fun, this is why I love this sport. And it's definitely the rewards that come with it. Going on to the second question. What was the second question?
Future.
Oh yeah. Okay, so for the future, obviously I kind of wanted to go back and compete my last year at the University of Utah, but now that it's been pushed 2 years for the next Olympics, I might just retire and after this year see how things go. I don't really know. I'm just kind of gonna base it off on how my body feels and what I'm feeling, just because I don't know, I'm gonna be 25 or 24, turning 25 in college, and that's kind of old for gymnastics in college. Like, I'll be with the seniors when I go back, they'll all be like 21. So it's just going to be like a whole different ball game for me. So it might be kind of weird. So I don't know how I feel about it, but there's been so many different options. I want to, my YouTube's been taking off, so I want to continue with YouTube. I want to start kind of maybe my own athletic line and leotard line, and kind of take off on that. I'm going to school to be a sports broadcaster, so I kind of wanted to work with like the Pac-12 and maybe NBC Olympics kind of stuff. I don't really know. We'll kind of see where my life takes me, but my sisters kind of mentioned before, my whole family did gymnastics, plus they all did other sports as well. My sister did cheerleading, and so she kind of wanted to like maybe open a gym at some point, and she would run the cheer program. I would do the gym. My mom has basically worked at the front desk our whole lives of gymnastics. So my sister's like, oh, looks like you can start working again, Mom, because she's really good at running the front desk. So my mom was kind of upset when she heard that. And she's like, I'm retired. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. So we'll see if we open a gym or not, which I think would be really cool. Trying to think. I want kids.
Fred Stonbaugh? Okay. Fred?
Yes.
There's music in your background, so you don't get to ask. Sorry. Daniel Herbert.
Yeah, MyKayla, thanks for being with us. We really appreciate it. For a number of years, I was on the board of U.S. Rowing, so I kind of know at the NGO level kind of what happens, and I know that you at gymnastics went through a bit of a bump, in fact, a huge bump, and the courage that the women showed going forward was really remarkable. So, tip of the hat to all you all who did that. Have things kind of gotten back on keel a little bit at US Gymnastics?
It has definitely gotten a lot better. It's hard because like with Marta, it was just like so intense all the time. And I think, you know, like we didn't want to fall because we knew if we would fall, we'd get our heads chopped off, or it'd be like at camp when we'd have training camps, like every single camp was important. You didn't want to mess up. And I feel like if you like messed up one time, Marta was like, we don't want you, you're gone, you're never coming back. And so in some ways I feel like she like made us like so strong that like when we would go to meets and stuff, when we'd go to meets, like, you know, the second we got there, we'd get off the airplane, you know, it'd be like 12 hours, 24-hour flight. We'd get off the airplane, and instead of going to our hotel room, we'd literally just drop our bags off and go to a gym. So the training facilities usually wouldn't be open yet. And so we would have to go to like some training facility, like some gym there, wherever we were, and train there for a couple days, because when we got to a meet, Marta wanted us to walk in looking like we were unstoppable. So everyone would look at us and be like, okay, like, you know, Team USA, like they're freaking good. And so when we got there, we would literally train like the same, like we'd get up and you'd be in lineup order from like what you would compete in, what she'd put you in, and we would just practice that, and we'd practice twice a day. So we would go a whole month, like for Worlds, we'd go a whole month straight. She wouldn't give us one day off. Our day off would be like a half a day. And so that whole time we'd be doing routines every single day. It was so hard. I don't know how like our bodies pushed through it, but you know, with Marta, she was so scary that we just did it. So like, that was just, I don't know. It was just so hard. I don't know how we got through it, but, so that's kind of like, I don't know. It kind of made us so good that like, if we were to compete, like we'd be able to just like hit that routine at any place, anytime, anywhere. If we were sick, tired, like we just knew we were going to hit those routines. And with Tom, the new coach, you know, he kind of implements like, it's okay to fall. It's okay to make a mistake, which is true. Like we all make mistakes, like that happens in gymnastics. And it's just weird because like with Marta, like you weren't allowed to fall. Like there's no excuse for falling. Like you're going to do everything you can possible to like stay on that beam. And so that's been kind of weird. And I feel like Tom's going to have a lot of experience and growth going through all of this. Like, I feel like he kind of, I don't know, he's just going to have to learn a lot of different things, because I feel like it's good to like kind of be easy on us, but I kind of feel like to stay where we need to, I think like we need to be pushed a little bit harder. So I'm kind of curious to see how after like this generation goes, because I know Simone says that this is her last Olympics. And so, I know like Russia's beaten our junior team at Worlds. They had their first junior Worlds like a year ago, and Russia beat us, which I kind of feel like, you know, without having Marta there pushing us, we're kind of lacking a little bit, but I'm sure we'll kind of come back up again. So I'm just kind of curious to see how like the future generation is going to be without Marta around. And I think that's where me and Simone come into play, because we can really help that younger generation and the girls that are there right now kind of like implementing our old ways to kind of help them in some ways. But I think definitely everything's been so much better. It's nice going to camp and not feeling like stressed all the time and like not wanting to go. I used to have like anxiety and would like cry the night before we went to camp. So it's nice being able to like go to camp and enjoy it, and like we can like talk at the chalk tray, and we can clap for one another. Like I feel like it just, everyone always used to be like, we were all friends and close, but like at camp we like kind of would just clap. But like now at camp we're like clapping, good job, like we're making jokes, we're having fun. So like the atmosphere and everything else around it is just so much better. They care about you, they care about your gymnastics, they care about how you're doing. You know, Tom actually cares about your life. He has Zoom calls with us, texts us, has a personal relationship. You know, as with Marta, like you never talk to her unless you're at camp and she puts your arms around your neck and is talking to your face. So everything's just been a lot better.
I have a quick follow-up question. Do you all feel safe now?
Yeah, so much better.
Great.
I mean, we're not training at the ranch anymore, which is nice. I know Tom has been working on a new training facility, so like we can actually have like a nicer place. It's kind of hard because we're staying in a hotel room, but a hotel room's a lot better than the ranch bunk beds with mold and bugs and all the other stuff we had to go through. So yeah, it's good.
Conrad, I think we can turn it back to you.
Kayla, all I have to tell you is I want you describing on national television for the gymnastic team, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. You are fantastic. You've done a really, really good job and let us in on the inside of this. I have one quick question. What COVID precautions is the team taking?
I mean, we haven't had a camp since COVID. I mean, obviously I was supposed to be competing in different meets. I was supposed to go to Italy, and then I was supposed to go to the what meet was it called? I can't remember what it was called, but it was going to be in Utah. It was supposed to be in Provo. It was an international competition to win the extra Olympic team spot. So there's the 4-man team, and then there's the 2 event specialists, and we already have one, and we had to put a team together to win the second one. So I was supposed to go to that meet, and we were supposed to have camps in between. So obviously all that got shut down. We haven't had any camps. We're supposed to maybe have our first camp in January, which I don't really know if that's going to happen just because they were trying to have a camp in December, but our gym in Indianapolis, they are not allowing us to go there. So as of right now, that's kind of, you know, how it's looking. Everyone's just been staying in their gyms. I remember when COVID first happened for me, our gym shut down, and some girls were allowed to do privates as long as there's no more than 10 people in the gym. So I was pretty much in the gym by myself, training every day, which was really hard. I don't know how I kept myself going. It was kind of miserable, to be honest, but I was grateful that I could train because I know a lot of athletes weren't even allowed in the gym. So I was really grateful for that. But yeah, with COVID, I mean, we just don't get to see the national team, which is kind of sad. I don't get to see anybody, but we're just connecting through social media and text messaging. And then at gym, we're just trying to stay 6 feet apart and keep everyone social distancing.